So hopefully it's recording now. I was asked by Danny just to do a couple of announcements as well. So he wanted me just to let you know that the next Live with Prima class is with the gorgeous Steph Miller, who I was really lucky to meet on Saturday. And she's featuring the new School Memories collection. And that's Thursday 29th, and that's 6:30 p.m. And then there's also just another reminder about Art Venture at California. Now, Art Venture is not to be missed. It's so much fun. It's just such a good event. The fabulous Jamie's going to be teaching there. Just had to put that one in out there. And Steph's going to be teaching there as well. And, you know, using brand new Prima products and doing heaps of cool things. So if you haven't booked Art Venture, I really think it's well worth it, because I've been there once and I had an absolute ball. So I think it's well and truly worth it. There's 6 amazing teachers doing lots and lots of fantastic classes, and that's January 2014. So, you know, retailers, everybody are welcome to that event. And the other announcement they've asked me to make is breast cancer awareness. There's a crop held September 21st, 12 to 9 p.m. at the Prima warehouse, which is 5,270 Edison Avenue in Chino, and the crop fee is $20, and all proceeds go to breast cancer research. So, you know, if you can make it to that crop, it's a fantastic way of helping raise funds for breast cancer research. And you can also RSVP to Frank at primamarketinginc.com or call 909-627-5532. I've done my announcements. I'm never going to make a newsreader. We're using the fantastic Anna Marie line today. I absolutely love it to pieces. When I first saw it, I just went, wow, oh, cocoon, be still my beating heart. It is so, so pretty. And I think it's probably a really good reflection of the type of person in the way I like to create, because the colours are so, so beautiful. I'm just going to show you what's in the kit today that I'm using, and also the layout and stuff like that, because you might not have seen the whole layout. So if I put this one up, this is, oh, can you see that? This is the layout. Oh, let's get it straight. This is the layout that we're going to create today. And you can see from the gorgeous, gorgeous colours. Hi everyone, sorry, I can't read the thing very well. I'm not too great at reading and talking and concentrating. Talking I seem to be able to do fine, but the rest of it gets harder. So you can see the gorgeous, gorgeous colours of this line. It's just absolutely stunning with the yellows and the pinks and such fresh, vibrant colours. Beautiful for your spring pages and everything as you come up. But it's, you know, just such a fantastic line. Now, with the product that I use today, I was able to make 2 pages. So that was another one. I slipped in a piece of School Memories in the background of that one. But you can actually make all this gorgeous stuff from the different bits and pieces that I show you. So I might just, it's easy for me to pull it up here, show you the papers. This one's the new Anna Marie. I just look at this and I think fussy cutting straight away. I see gorgeous, gorgeous fussy cutting. And, you know, things like a black spot. It's got a cute little chevron on the back. And this one's called Swiss Miss. But, oh, love black spotted paper. And, oh, look at that, people. Look at that stunning pink, oh, with text. And this one's great as well if you're doing Project Life. And it's good for card makers, trading cards, scrapbookers, everything. You know, they're all gorgeous little bits and pieces on that one. This one's a gorgeous floral, but look at this side as well. This side's got this gorgeous music notes on it, and it's beautiful, beautiful teal. So love it, totally love it. I actually put 2 sheets in of that one. And this is slightly more blue, but you can see with this one it's got that beautiful, like a mosaic tile sort of print on it. And these cute little dresses that you could really make fun things with as well. And then a deeper, darker black and pink flowers. And on the back of that one is really just a nice plain ledger style paper. And This one's also good if you're using the Prima doll stamps. It's a good background here for stamping one of the Prima doll stamps onto. I told you I tucked in a school memories line into my other layout, so I'll pop that one under there because we won't use that today. And I also used the chipboard pieces on this project as well. So this is the matching chipboard that goes with the Anna Marie line. And lastly, some white paper, Prima watercolour paper, or alternatively just white cardstock will work fabulously with this. Now the other cute things I've used, oops, dropping bits. I've used some of the older lace. This is just from the, I can't remember which one. It's off the roll now, but that is just some of the Prima lace from last release. Some older, let me see, that's better there. Some older lyric trinkets, and I love the trinkets because they just add a little bit of something. So totally love it. And these gorgeous new flowers, these ones are Lucido flowers, and I thought the bright, vibrant colours really match in beautifully with the papers from the Anna Marie line. Because you've got some really bright pinks as well as the teals and some yellowy ones as well. So they're going to work well with Anna Marie. And Serenity. Really love the Serenity flowers. Love how shabby chic they are. The crumpled sort of rose look. And we've got some teals and black and white in this pack. Really love those. And some new swirls. Always love the new Prima swirls. And don't you love the black packaging? I use a lot of my packaging, and this is gorgeous because there's lots of great packaging behind as well. But those swirls are beautiful. So you've got a couple up there and these two bigger ones down the bottom. Now I'm using an older Prima stencil from the Sunrise Sunset collection. This is really, really versatile. Goes with so many projects. I mean, I use it a lot on masculine pages, but this time I'm using it on a feminine page and it looks equally as good. Finally, I'm sneaking in a lovely big doily. This is an 8 by 10 inch doily. Love it. And believe it or not, there's about 5 little 4-inch doilies here. And we'll be using one of them as well. So there's lots of fun things in the kit. And I really can't wait to get started and show you what I'm going to create and how I'm going to create it. I've done a little bit of prep work so we can speed through some bits. There's also, actually I forgot to tell you, this is mixed this pack because I've got other bits in it, but that was actually Abbey flowers in there as well. So there's some cute white mistable Abbey flowers, and Prima have brought out some more leaves again in this collection, so I'm also using some leaves as well. So I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to get started. So hopefully when I turn it down, I can get it right for you. That looks about right there. Oh, hopefully it'll focus in a second. Give it a sec. Perfect. Perfect. Firstly, I'm actually resurrecting a really old Prima mask. This is stunning. It's, as you can see from the packaging, it's quite a few collections ago. And it came with 2 in a pack, and it's an 8 by 8 mask. And I'm going to mask this using Tim Holtz Mustard Seed Distress ink. I love masking with Distress ink because it doesn't warp your pages at all. And to do that, I'm just going to take my tool, rub it round, pop it down, pop my mask down, and I use a firm circular motion for masking. So you can see how quickly and easy. Now the tricks to getting a really good masking result with this is to keep it firmly in the same place, and also where the very fine points are in the mask, just go over them a few times so you can see. You can always lift it and check underneath that the masking's coming out quite nicely. And like I said earlier, probably one of the things I like the most about masking with distressing is it doesn't bend or warp your paper at all like you do if you're using, say, a spray and stuff like that. This just puts colour down, you get the results, but your paper's still completely flat at the end of it, which makes it really, really easy for doing different bits and pieces. And you can see straight away, if I peel that back, see how beautifully the masking's coming up. I'll keep going with that. The other thing that's great about using the Distress ink for masking is that it's really easy to clean it up afterwards. Unlike the next bit, which I'll show, which uses gel medium, this just wipes off so easily just with a baby wipe, and then you can pop your mask away. So they're the results that you get when you mask just with Distress tool and the Distress ink. And I just think it's a really great way to get gorgeous results from that, from the Prima masks. So that's one of the ones there. I'll pop that aside. Now, I'm doing the masking for this layout first because I need a few things to dry so I can then show you the extra bits that we're going to do afterwards. Now, I'm going to use the Checkerboard mask. Unlike the one that was in the packaging earlier, this is a very well-loved mask, and I've cleaned it so many times I'm bit by bit taking off the grey coating on it, and it's gone almost transparent. Now, I made up gel medium, so just using matte gel medium. If you can see that, I use Liquitex one. Matte gel, heavy gel, medium weight gel medium, any of these are fine. These work really, really well. And to make it up, I'm mixing it with the Luminart Primary Elements polished pigments. And the reason I love doing this is that it gives this amazing intensity of colour. So I'll mix up some pink. I've got some yellow there that I did earlier, but I'm going to use some pink. So I'll pop some of the gel medium into a palette. Oops. The colour I used for the mask is mustard seed. So it comes up beautifully. It's a beautiful, rich, intense colour. Now, I'm going to mix up some primary elements. This one here, which I mixed with gel medium, the colour I used was yellow rose. So it's quite a mustardy, yellowy, deep yellow colour. And this one I'm going to mix up is Courageous Rose. I'm just going to tap that so it goes down. Now, you can see there that I've put just a little, you know, filled the little palette well with the gel medium. Then I'm going to take some of the pigment. Now, the more pigment you put in, the more intense the colour is going to be. So I've just put in a scoop of the pigment into there, and then I'm just going to take my palette knife and I'm just going to very carefully, so I don't spill it everywhere, mix that colour in with the gel medium. I'm going to change mask. I'm doing this one first. See, as I mix it in, you can see that that gel medium is now changing colour, and it's taking on a beautiful, intense pink. So almost there. So can you see that, how gorgeous, intense pink we've got just by using the gel medium? The gel medium also seals those polished pigments, which are actually highly, concentrated with mica flakes, and that's where you get a beautiful pearlescent glow to it. And then I'm going to mask using the gel medium mix, and I'm going over a damask mask from Prima from previous release, and it's just gorgeous. Here's a couple of tips I say with masking. I say butter it on like you're using a bread knife. You don't want to overwork your mask when you're using it, otherwise it slips under. It's also really, really important that you keep it flat on the page as well, because if it lifts, you've got more chance of sending the gel underneath the mask, and that's how you get those smudgy results underneath. So you can see I didn't overwork it. I just popped it on there with a few strokes. I used the edge of my palette knife, and that way it's literally like buttering a piece of toast. I'm just going to scrape the excess back into there, and when I peel that away, you can see it's a really crisp masked image, and it's beautiful bright pink. So, and that was using the Courageous Rose just mixed with the gel. So really easy to do. Now, let me just put that aside because that's going to need to be cleaned because it's filthy. And I'll clean that off. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the mustard seed. And sorry, I'm finding a baby wipe here just to quickly wipe the excess. Unlike the Distress ink for masking, if this dries onto the mask, it doesn't come off quite as easily if I leave it too long. So I'll just set that aside. And I'm going to do exactly the same, but this time I want the checkerboard mask. I'm just going to come down the side here. So you can see, let me wipe that off before it stays permanently there. All right, so this is yellow rose of the pigment powder mixed again with the gel medium. And again, see how I just sort of butter it across the top of the mask. Now this mask is a bit more old, so it's wanting to lift. So I have to be a bit more careful just to not make it smush too much underneath. Hopefully it will work just fine. And when I lift that one up, you can see again, it's masked beautifully and the bright, vibrant colour is there, which is what I'm trying to achieve. So that's those two, and that's how I've masked with those ones. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas of what you can do with the stencils. A couple of the stencils are older. I will... this one's still current. You can still easily get the Sunrise Sunset checkerboard stencil. I know that this main one that I used here, this is really old. This is about 3 or 4 years old, so it'll be a lot harder to get. And it was one of my absolute favourites. So I'm a little bit in love with it, and I use it all the time. Every now and again you can get lucky and find an older stencil, but it might get a bit harder. And that was from the winter release, and that was a damask one. And I think it came from this pack, which was 564278. So I'm not certain if this one's still available, but, you know, you should be able to find it somewhere still because it's still a relatively current mask. It's only from the winter release. But it's gorgeous, that damask. I'm going to set that aside to dry now and go on with some other stuff because I want to do some more things with that. I've been busy. I had my husband pre-cut some of this line because I really love it. And I just want to give a couple of tips. When I'm fussy cutting, I don't come in right on the very edge. I'm not that fussy. I come just out and I only just tuck in. I don't take too much time with it because you can take heaps and heaps of time and you want to be quick. You don't want it taking forever. I also absolutely love to use Visca's soft touch scissors or any of these spring-loaded self-opening scissors, and the reason I like to use them for a lot of this stuff is just you don't get the hand fatigue. You know, if you're using a pair of scissors like this, your knuckles and stuff get sore after a while if you've been doing a lot of cutting. Oh, look, I must be nervous. I'm shaking. And I can just come in really quickly and I can just quickly run around, and you can kind of move the paper around while you're cutting rather than going up, down, up, down. You sort of move and squeeze and it cuts it quite quickly. So can you see, if I come up a bit closer, can you see how there's still that little border? When it's on the page, you don't actually see or notice that I haven't cut it super precise. And my other little trick is, when I'm doing this, is that I will come back in with my fussy cut pieces and I'm using the fine blade on the tool, and I'll just very roughly and very gently go, and it's probably hard to see. I'm trying to put it up there. Don't know if it'll focus enough to do that. But it just means that any of those sharp cut lines, they tend to be less visible if you give it just a very gentle distressing with your distress tool. So I'm going to start with the construction of the layer while my other stuff is drying. Now on my background, I used a sheet of this stunning teal paper, and I just have to cut the barcode off the bottom first. So let's give that a quick cut through. Oh, look, it's pre-distressed by a blunt knife on the cutting tool. Look at that, pre-distressed. I think the blade needs changing on that cutter. Now I really want to bring out the drama of the black, because you remember how I showed you this paper had that gorgeous black spot with it. So I want to sort of capitalize on the black, and with really bright colors, if you accent back with black, it's just a beautiful way to get real punch to your layout. So again, this is black soot, and I'm taking the black soot. Do you like my dirty hands? They've got yellow mustard seed on them now. I'm going to take black soot again with the distress tool, and I'm going to come in and ink my edges. Now you can get these gorgeous deep, look how deep that is, really gorgeous distressed deep edges, and I'm just going to touch on the edges along the side, and again I'm using that circular motion for this lovely soft edge. And then when I come in on the corner, it's like vignetting in photos. I want to give it that deeper, you know, shaded effect on the corners. And the tool allows you to do that when you're using the spongy pad, as opposed to the old way of just grabbing your pad and swiping like this. You only get a bit of ink on the edge, whereas by doing this, I can get these lovely soft amounts, and then I can even come right into the corners. And that creates this beautiful, I call it vignetting, but I'm just giving the border of my page something interest, and it constrains the edges and draws your eye into the center. Oh, getting a bit thick there. Let's just push that back a bit, a little bit more there, and go along this way, touching in on the edges. Now, I'm not finished with the distressing yet, because I always like to ink first, and then once I've got the inking, oh, I made that go all out of focus, sorry. Once I've got the inking all around the edges, I then like to go back in and distress with my Prima Distress tool. No, I had it, it's now I've got to go too forward. Thanks. Frank's changing a couple of things. Oh, it'll be all right there. And I was just saying the other day, to make this as easy as possible for distressing, I actually use, because your distress tool's got multiple sections to it. So I've got a blade in on this side, and then you've got like a fine rasp, then you've got this really thick, heavy duty rasp, bone folding edge, and on the very tip, these lovely little blades, which are great for scratching paper and stuff away. So let me pop that back in there. I call it breaking the seal on the paper first. So I just grab it with just the blade edge, and I run it all the way down, and now you can see I've just broken the edge. Or, you know, you could do that for a very, very light distressing. But then after I've broken the edge, I like to add flex to my paper. I find adding the flex to the paper, see how my thumb is pushing it in, and underneath my hands are pushing the rest of it up. To add the flex, and then I'm coming in, and I'm relatively parallel to the paper, but I come in with a slight upward motion like that, and I hit the edge of the paper. And you can see when I hit the edge of the paper, see how it's just curling back. I hope you can see that well, but it just curls back really, really easy. So I'm just hitting, and see how easy and quick that distresses things. I always wondered how Engveld got those beautiful, deep distressed edges, and it really is because of the tool she's using. And if you haven't got a tool like this, it makes it a lot harder to get these lovely distressed edges on your page. So again, I like that bit of flex, and I'm trying to add it from the top end. Bit of flex, edge, boom, boom, boom. And you can see very, very quickly I've got there, and I've given a really quick distressed edge. And I also like to ink first and then distress, because then I'll get 3 layers of colour. So I've got the background, then I've got the inked edge, and then I bring back the white core from the middle. They're saying hi to you, Frank.
Oh, hi.
He says hi back. So you can see how quick and easy that is to then quickly add a really quick distress to your paper with the Prima Distress tool. And I'm not going for super heavy distressing this time. I'm just going for a quick distress all around the edges. And you can see I can get right into the very, very corners with the tool, which I used to find really difficult before this tool. And I can do it very, very quickly too. Mind you, I do a lot of it, so I guess that helps with being able to get it to do it quickly. So, there you go. We have lots of paper pulp. And quickly distressed. I haven't gone super heavy. If you want to go heavier, you just, oh, look at me, I'm covered in it. If you want to go heavier, you can use your mat, and the Prima mat has a rasp tool working area. If you don't have one of these, flip your mat over so you're working on the back of it, and you can actually just push in against the paper and the mat at the same time, and see how very quickly and easily you can get a really heavily distressed edge. And, you know, there are results you can achieve with this tool that you would struggle to achieve with just a blade tool or anything like that. So there's some of the advantages of having a Prima Distress tool to use rather than, you know, just a blade. And I always like to let people know that, because I think it's really important that you can see those things and see how it works with the differences and stuff. Now, my doily was one of the next things that I put down, and I always try and stress to people when I'm creating my layouts, I never actually add glue right to my outer edges of anything, because I like to be able to slip stuff in under my edges and add to it later. So I have this little trick. I'm just going to fold this back, because I often just fold these over the edges. Hopefully that'll be about right. Hopefully it's not too tall. Maybe a little bit less than that. Maybe about there. I can just fold over the top, and it ends up being kind of centered there. And I actually use Helmar 450 to glue everything down. And over here, a lot of you use the Beacon Fabri-Tac glue. And the reason this sort of glue, Beacon Fabri-Tac or the Helmar 450, is good for this sort of thing is it's a solvent-based adhesive. So it doesn't actually warp the paper at all. So you can actually pop it on paper and it won't ever warp it or anything like that. Frank's handing me another one because this one's not coming down. Look, it's got glue coming into it. Thank you. And no, I don't even use double-sided tape anymore. I'm really, really bad. I'm just going to throw a little bit of that glue onto there and see how I've come way in from my edges with that glue. And I know it's still going to hold. It's not going to go anywhere. It's still going to stay there, stuck down and held. But what it does mean is that I'm free now to come back in and add anything I want in under these edges. And it seems such a simple thing, but it makes a world of difference to the way I create when I create with so many different layers. And that's going to be my starting point for this layer. It's just that lace doily. And then I'm going to go and grab my sheet of this pretty one. And it's going to be interesting because I don't know what my measurements are, so I'm just going to guesstimate because that seems like fun at the time. But I would say, looking at this, if I cut this to approximately 4.5, maybe a bit more. What's that? That's 3.5. Say 4 inches. That's too thin. Go 5. 5 looks about good. I'm just going to cut that one. Oh, these blades are blunt. Let's have a look, see if I came close to fitting that. Oh, look at that. And if I'm really, I'm just going to put a dent there and cut the other way. There's that one too, about there. I would say a trick to make sure you're, is to always work off the straight edge of your cutter. Oh, sorry, work off a straight edge of your paper so that you're more likely to be cutting. Oh, there goes a blade. Pop that back in. So you're more likely to be cutting straight lines rather than crooked ones, so it comes back straight most of the time. That looks about right to me. And then I'm just going to give that the quickest of quick inks. This time I'm just going to hold it to attack my edges. And I tend to ink and distress everything. I really love the way when you ink and distress that you can really bring back that bit of oomph and a bit of punch back to the project that you're working on. And again, really, really quickly, I find it really does help to quickly go down with the blade first to give it that. Oh, this one's got a bit of tooth on it already. See, just a little bit with the blade, and then it's roughed it, and it makes it really grippy for when the blade comes in on it. And I'll do all those. And again, I'm coming in that inch. And popping in around an inch in from my edges. So I can still go back and add anything I want under there. So my second layer goes down. Now, those little bits I did earlier with the masking, I even did some earlier again. See how it's very dark with the masked area. And this is fully flexible. That's the beautiful thing about using gel medium, is that it will stay fully flexible. And it, you know, you can bend it and it's still going to not crack or anything like that. So it's a beautiful medium to use for this type of masking. I want to add colour to the background of this. So I'm just going back in with the tool and the distress ink again. And just in nice long sweeping motions. And now I've pretty much made my own custom paper. So the doily I used was a 10 by 8 inch doily that I just got from my local scrapbook store. So they can usually find them. You know, you can find them in different places and stuff. So that's where I got the doily from. But that's that one done. And I'm going to do the same with the pink. And this time I'm using picked raspberry in the distress ink. Ink up my tool. And you can see it's quite stark between the white and the pink of the masked area. And then I'm just going to go back in. And by adding that pink distress ink over the background, once again, I've created my own sort of custom paper. I'm not too worried that it's darker there or anything. So it's just, you know, I just got that bit of colour in it. Because I wanted fairly plain papers to pop on the pop on my layout as contrast, because this had such beautiful bright colours in it. I really wanted to accentuate, and I just love the mask and how I can get with this one the little squares, and then this one the beautiful damask happening. And then I got really technical. At home, I use Spellbinder's nesting circle dies, but here I've got some templates. So I know that I need one of these, and it's a little bit hard because I can't see the back very easily. So I might just hold it in place and cut around this one with my scissors. Circles are a great shape to use in your layouts. They're fun, and you can create really good flow across a page by using some circles and things.
Where did you find the doily in Australia?
The doilies, they've come, I've got them at my local scrapbook store, so I'm a bit spoilt that way, but they are like a catering product. And I know my scrapbook store, they buy them in 1,000 count, and then they just break them up into, you know, 20 or 25 packs and sell them that way. I know over in Australia we can get them from some of the cheap, you know, $2 shops and stuff like that as well. But that particular one, it's like a French lace pattern. I know that there's a paper place in America, but it's all bulk. So if your local scrapbook store were prepared to get in some bulk and divide up the doilies, they could get them through that, and I'd be happy to pass those details on to leave them with Prima or something if someone wanted to know how to get those doilies. But otherwise, I just check your cheap shops and stuff just for doilies because they're quite readily available a lot of the time. All right, so I've cut myself a circle, and because I've cut it with scissors, I'm just going to add a bit more yellow to that corner. It's a bit jagged. I don't know if you can see it. It might not be as obvious, but it's, you know how it's a little bit chunky. And I'm just going to very quickly touch the edges with the black ink again. But to get rid of that chunkiness, if you haven't used a die and you've just used scissors, I'm just going to grab the finer edge on my rasp tool. Actually, I'm going to use the rougher edge, and I'm going to give it a really light distress. And it's a quick and easy way of hiding the fact that I have hand cut instead of cutting with a circle cutter for a precise result. And it just hides, because it just means now, and there's a little bit that's still, now it's sort of shabby on the edges all the way around, and it's a really, really good way of hiding those blunt cut edges. Now, I also need one this size in yellow. So, cutting around that one. And I'd do the same. I just want to add a little bit more colour onto that edge with that. Do the same, quickest little lick of black on the edges again. I know these are little fine details, but I do find that it's the fine details that can really make your project. And see again, I don't know how much this comes out, but it really does. If I bring up closer, see how down here it's a bit chunky. You can still sort of see the chunky little cuts, but when I come round and I distress it, oops, then you just get that lovely slightly curled over distressed edge, and you don't then get those chunky little edges from cutting with scissors. So I've got those ones done. Now I need to get some of the pink ones done. So I think I need one in this one. Let's cut round that. All right. And we do exactly the same process. I mean, that's got some really peaks in it before I do the next process. It'll just look a little bit like my kids cut it probably. That's because I'm rushing. And again, back with the distress tool. Bring back that lovely white core. Give that shabby chicness to it. So that's that one done, and then I need another little one from this one. Half of these will end up hidden on the layout too. but you just get those little touches of colour coming through, which is really lovely. You can get some beautiful doily punches. They're available for running through your die cutting machine. That's another way of getting doilies out. I know that there's some really, really pretty ones by Cherry Lynn. They're very delicate and really pretty, and then you can run them through on cardstock. And the beauty of doing that, if you run them through on card, is that they are more rigid for your projects and stuff. Prima need to do a line of doilies, don't they? Need to suggest a whole line of pretty doilies. So let's get that. Okay. So we got those little bits and pieces. I think I just need some others in plain colours, but I'll put that aside for the moment. Now, I love the idea of flow and seeing that flow happening on the page. And so this is where you can see how easy it is by the fact I didn't glue the entire way under my project. I can now start going back in and just placing things where I want them, just to sort of get an idea of how it's going to end up looking. And see how the circles with the geometric element of them is now creating this flow that's running across my page. Just get a bit of idea on if I'm happy with the placement. I don't mind that too much. I'm just going to pop some adhesive on the back of them. And I do this quite a bit. See how I just lifted up the corner and I'm tucking some glue underneath? I do it regularly. Often don't even pull it apart when I'm creating. I just sort of end up going like this all over my project and holding it and peeling stuff back. I reckon if you saw me, you'd probably have a good laugh at how silly I look doing it. Just pop that one down. Quite happy where that one is. And even with my circles, I'm not bothering about going right out to the edges. I know they'll hold. I know they're not going anywhere. And if I think anything looks a little bit too loose, I can always add some more adhesive if I want later on. So you can sort of see that it's starting to build up, and we've got this little bit of colour happening, and you know, it's starting to sort of develop some shape and some flow across the page. I've still left a bit of blank space around the page so the project can sort of breathe still, and that's quite important as well. All right. Had some fussy cutting done earlier because it just speeds things up quite a bit. And quite often I just like to see the different layers where bits and pieces come out, because the paper from that sheet, this is just so perfect for fussy cutting, and you really can get beautiful elements coming from it to then create with. And again, I just often will go back, even on the flowers I fussy cut, add a hint, not a lot, but just a hint of distress ink. And again, just the tiniest little touch with the distress tool, and it tends to curl the edges up that little bit as well. So I'm almost finished my trip. I head back tomorrow, so don't be envious of my 16 or 17 hour flight tomorrow. I get to about the 8-hour mark and I start feeling like I'm totally and utterly claustrophobic. All right, I'm going to start placing these things back down. Turn that one that way a little bit. I'm going to start placing them down, making sure that the placement's going to work for what I want. Let's have a look here. I actually want one going a different way to what I've got, I think. Let's have a look. We'll put that one up there. Maybe that one. I'm going to darken a bit, I think. I'm going to start thinking out loud soon. Maybe a bit like that. And can you see how, oh, can you see that? I'll pull it down towards me a bit more. Sort of just building up those layers a little bit, getting an idea. And I often see, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just tucking that little bud so it peeks through from the other flower behind, and it just gives a little bit more fullness to the cluster of fussy cut flowers. And then let's have a look. Coming down here. Do you know what? Of all the flowers I've got cut here, I don't have one going the direction that I kind of want it for that spot. But aha, this one will work. Sorry, bear with me while I fussy cut another one. I'll try and do it really, really quickly, and hopefully it will turn out okay. Sometimes you just need the flower to go in a different direction, and I actually want that dark red to come down here, but the other ones that I've got, it's not going in that direction. So see how that one goes that way, and they must, like just on the pattern paper, they have different directions, and you can use that to your advantage quite often. Fussy cut, fussy cut. So we're getting there. Oops, this one's missing its point. I'll shape it. See how that one's, the tip's been cut off? I often just come in and I'll just shape it back to something so it's not obvious that it's missing a little bit. And I do the same with leaves when I'm fussy cutting. If it's sort of, some of them go into another area of another flower. So I will actually just shape the leaf to make it look like it wasn't half chopped off already. And it just means I can still use it and have it looking the way I kind of want it still. All right. A little bit of ink. Fussy cutting's good to do in front of the TV while you can kind of look and do other things. I'm not so good at doing that myself. I always need to look at what I'm doing. We'll get there. All right. And again, like I said, I just like to give even my fussy cut pieces a touch of distressing because it just helps to bring them out that little bit. And now, see I've got that deep colour down there? I really just wanted to have that touch of deep colour coming in from the side. So now, how am I going to place these ones? Maybe I want to go that way more. With that flower. Yes, I talk out loud while I'm thinking. Helps clarity of my mind. Helps me decide how I'm going to do things. All right, I'm feeling quite happy with a few of those pieces now. So I'm going to stick those down. Frank's not here now. He's walked away. He's gone back upstairs. So no, he's not seeing the chat at all. Sorry. He disappeared. Unless he's on his computer with the chat. Yeah, that blog of mine, I haven't updated it for a very long time. I've been running around crazy busy like. And let's pop this one down here. Okay. And I'm going to tuck that one in up there. I need to give that a little bit of a distress. I really want to have that poking through that one. I like that. Okay. Now, that one that we masked earlier through the powers of Ustream, I pre-fussy cut this one. And see how I just cut all around it? You leave a border. So you come out from the edge and you leave that yellow border around the flowers and everything, so it keeps the design there. So totally, totally love that piece of paper. And when I place it down there, it brings this whole design to life. And I need to bring this across this way a little bit for you. Now, often when I'm working, I like to grade with depth as well. So I chose to put this one with foam mount tape. So I'm hunting for foam mount tape right now. I don't know where there's foam mount tape. Hopefully I can find some in a second. Give me a moment. Foam mount tape, please be here. All right, there's got to be foam mount tape. Surely. Frank uses heaps of foam mount tape. He has to see him. Something has to be here. Oh, they're just hiding foam mount tape from me. All right. What have I got? Oh, pop dots. There we go. Hopefully, this will do the trick. So I just want a little bit more dimension on this one. So I'm just going to come behind and I'm just going to add just a bit of depth. And it's going to raise it up. And that's going to add more texture to the whole design and everything as well. So I'll just keep going with these. Now, often I would even kick this back a little bit as well when I'm doing it. They're sticky little suckers. They keep sticking to my hands. Oh, I see there's some Australians on. Yay! Is it really late at night in Australia at the moment? I would have thought it would be the middle of the night, just about. This mask, is this the mask that you wanted to know? This is a really, really old Prima one. It was 545581. And it came, oops, it's sticking to me. And it came as a 2-pack originally. It's one that I have loved from the moment I've had it. And I'll never let it go out of my sight. And I use it quite a bit. Let me get this covered with these little suckers. There we go. All right. Now this is, have it fairly high, I think. We'll keep it fairly high. I want to see, I want to still be able to see a bit of the flower here. And I haven't stuck that one down yet. I probably need to stick this one down too. Pop that here. And let's angle it out a bit so it can be seen. Now, you can't see it under there as well, but because I can see that a lot of this isn't going to be seen when I stick my mask down, I'm just angling it around a little bit more so that you can still see patches of the flower out the side out here. And that's given that section just a little bit of lift up off the rest of the page. So we're building it up piece by piece. Now it needs, I reckon it's possibly going to need something a bit lower, but we'll see how we're going with the next little bit. Now, I want to bring in that contrast of the black. They've been saying hi to you, Frank.
Are they asking for foam tape?
I got it. I found it. Look, I found it.
Foam tape.
Well, it works. It's 3D pops.
You just need some still?
It's all right. Oh, yeah, I do. Thanks. Frank's here. You can say hi to Frank again. See, Frank, they're saying hi to you.
Hi.
He says hi back now. He walked back into the room.
I ran over
He
here.
heard I needed foam tape. He was rescuing me. I needed rescuing. All right. I want to bring some of the black back into this again because the black adds that real dramatic pop to such beautiful bright colours, and I think it's really good to have a little bit of pop and razzle dazzle and all those sorts of things. Now I'm trying to look, you know when you're just looking at a thing going, now what was the width that I creative with that. I think by memory it was around 3 inches or so. 3, maybe 4 inches. I can always chop it down a little bit if I need to. All right. That is so blunt. I think it needs to be less. Let's chop it down a little bit more. Maybe go 3.5. See? They're saying hi to you, Frank.
I know.
He should just turn it on to him and show Frank for a while I'm trying to work out the dimensions.
Oh.
See, they really want you, Frank. They're going, hi, Frank. They're missing you. I stole his Live with Prima spot, by the way. I'm a thief. You would have had Frank this morning. Instead, you're stuck with me and my Aussie accent, which I've discovered when I'm teaching. I often say, she'll be right. Don't worry about it. And I thought that's such an Aussie thing to say constantly. She'll be right. Don't worry about it. Every time. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's just a creative opportunity. Now, I want to cut a big V in. And one of the little tricks I have for cutting a big V in is I fold my paper in half where I want to cut it. And I say this over and over again. I'm going to cut from the fold out to the tip. Now, it seems relatively easy, but every time I teach a class, someone always cuts the opposite way and they end up with a point instead of the V cut. So I'm cutting from the fold, I'm cutting out to the tip. And now I have perfectly even points on my V. So it's just an easy way of doing that. Now, I didn't bother to ink my edges on the black paper. It just doesn't stand up, but I definitely will go back and distress them. Get in there. And the distressing, just again, bringing back that white core really adds to the texture of the paper. And I'm going to pop that one under the whole row. And see, again, I'm able to lift what I've stuck down earlier. Whoops, and tear my doily. I can't quite lift it enough. That's all right. I'll just chop some off. I can still lift the edges of these as well. And I can work out that, yeah, that looks, I'm trying to see if I've got it centered. Who knows if this is going to be straight or not. That looks about right. I'm going to chop a little bit more off though. I'm going to stick it down. Now I'm approximately centered. I think so. And see how that bit of black just gives that pop to it? It does. It makes a really big difference. So you can really use bits of black to your advantage when you're creating. And I think up here, I'm going to add a little bit more up here. Now my photo is 6x4. So I want this to stick out just a little bit further than the size of my photo. So being 6x4, I think 6x4, yeah, let's go a little bit higher, about that much, about 1/4 inch more. So I'm cutting that to about 6 1/4. And I can still just see, bring it down so you can see it, still just see a little bit of the yellow at the top, a little bit of the yellow underneath, but I'm going to get that little bit of punch happening in behind my photo as well. So quickly give that. Can you see how quick it is to distress with the Prima tool? And how, you know, you can get a really good heavy distressing of it done. And lots of paper pulp on your page. All right. And I'm going to foam mount this up as well, just so it's going to sit up off that page that little bit more. See, Frank went and got me some. I'm a happy camper. He's looking after me. It's all good. put them in the middle for support. I like to give a little bit of support in the middle at times as well, so that it doesn't just sink when you get weight of different bits and pieces on it. And when we get all these little bits off, and I'm trying to line this up, trying to line it up this way so it's kind of in line with the black piece below. Okay, so there's those little bits, and I think it's needing some flowers outside as well. So coming in something like that. I'll put these ones on. Urgh, the glue's not coming down.
You're lucky you have any.
Thank you. Did you hear that, people? I got told I was very lucky I even had to hear that glue, with an evil laugh coming straight afterwards. All right. And something up the other side. That'll work up there. That's pretty. Give it a quick distress. Just to shabby them up a little bit. Oh, it's having a little eruption down here, my glue. Now it's easy to get out. Drop that one in there. Okay. So I've pretty much got a fair amount of the basics of the background done. And now I want to sort of add to the foreground. Now, I don't have any spare photos with me here in my physical hands. So this one ends up with just a blank spot, I'm afraid. But usually, when you get to the end, I'd have an actual photograph on there. Now, I also created a template for my heart. And I'm going to grab some of the pink paper when I find it. The pink paper. You know why you can't find things when you want them straight away? Hiding. Playing hide and seek with me. Sorry, I just got to rummage through my papers again to find the pink one. I think it's on the back of that one.
They're picking on me, Janine.
They're picking on you, Frank? Oh, poor Frank. I'm going to just take this one. Oh, I'm going to do it on the front part. I'll do it down here. I'm just going to hold it. Ordinarily, and you can do this freehand as well. When I did this original heart, I folded a piece of the pink paper in half, and then I kind of just cut half a heart into it. By folding it in half, it just meant that I had that the heart would be even. If you don't want it even, that's not going to work for you so well, but I wanted it even. So we've got one heart, and it's my other pink heart template over there. There it is. And I've done a little one as well, because the big one was going to be lonely without a little one. Let's get that one cut. I'm trying to do about 3 hours worth of work in an hour, and I've already exceeded my hour, and it doesn't even feel like the time's gone that quickly. So let's get that one done. Okay. Isn't that paper pretty? Because it's pink. That's probably why I think it's so pretty. Well, I've got a couple of hearts now. I actually have a heart now. And, all right, these need a little bit of inking. And again, you know, like I was saying before, just by adding the ink, it helps to give it dimension on your page. And a quick distress. So we've got that little one. And we've got our bigger one. And the reason I've done the heart is I wanted something to anchor the floral cluster to. And that meant I was constrained as to where it would go. And there's so many other fussy cut flowers. I can then lift it and put foam mount underneath so it sits up higher and just gives it more definition on the page. Let's go around and give this a quick little distress up. So we're just giving it a quick distress again, so it's got those lovely little edges brought back. And I'm wanting it to sort of sit around about here, but I'm going to start putting a lot of the other little bits and pieces onto it before I actually stick it onto the page. So I'm looking at the little bits like the doily. I'm going to pop, but I'm only going to use half a doily on it, so I'm just going to find the half mark, fold it, cut it in half. Do you ever get a chance to read, Frank, when you're...
I do.
I don't know how you do. I don't know how people can read what's going on.
My stuff turns out all crooked.
It's really, really hard.
They're talking about random stuff.
Random? You're all talking about random stuff? That's
about
good.
Paul Hogan and
Paul Hogan.
rugby and
okay.
someone being a pop dot king. And
that would be you, wouldn't it?
I guess, yeah.
That'd be Frank, the pop dot king.
I don't use that many.
No. Do you know what? I need another fussy cut flower, would you believe? This one's, I need one that's full. I'm going to have to make do. I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to stick that across the bottom just to get the illusion. I'm trying to make do so I don't have to fussy cut another flower. So I'm going to like join, make them conjoined somehow, rather than having to try and do a whole new one. Now I need my flowers. Now, often when I'm creating, I like to actually get to my layer and look at it and go, it actually stands alone pretty much without its flowers. So I really like it to look fairly well finished before I add those final little bits and pieces. So when I look at that layer and what's there, although it's not fully finished, if I just added a title and my photo and stuff, I could leave it like that. But then the embellishing on top is that final bit that really makes the big difference to give it a little bit more of that wow factor. So I'm just going to use some of these pretty Serenity flowers that have that gorgeous shabby chic feel to them. I'm going to go for that one. And just to give, just one. What? Frank's going, just one. What? Just one flower. Believe it or not, that's just one. He's saying it's a crime. But, you know, there's so many other fussy cut flowers on this layer. I think that it's pretty evident it's a girly layer already. And it's very floral. So I'm using one of the yellows as well. And I'm seeing where I'm going to need to place these flowers underneath. I want to cover the fact that I've only got half a doily here. Let's move that out of the way. It's annoying me. All right, how am I going to do this? Because it's not the same flower I cut with the other one. I need to cover the fact that that one's not the same as well. This is where it gets a bit trickier. I'm just going to run with it. And then I'll work it out. And my floral cluster might be entirely different to what my original was, because I have to make changes along the way. She'll be right. I'll get there. See, they love you, Frank.
You're being silly. They're showing off in front of you.
So I'm barely able to read it. They want you to know that they love you and they miss you.
Look at Carrie reading my mind.
All right. I think that I could possibly pop that bit there. And I can hide that one with that. That was a big bit of glue I just put on there. Oh well. And then I'm going to throw this one on. Let's have a look. About like So I think it needs to go up that way. I'm talking to myself as much as anything else. And seriously, if you had watched me create at home, I'd do the exact same thing. I'd sit there going, oh, maybe I should try this. And I'd just be talking out loud to myself. No one would want to be in a room near me. They'd just crack up laughing at my silliness, talking away to myself. I'm sure of it. All right. Now, I need the pretty bits. And I need some other little bits and pieces. Let's take these out. Now, keep in mind, some of the product that I've got here in front of me was actually for another layout that I used using the same paste, you know, the leftovers and stuff of the same papers. This is a little rose leaf die, and it was Magnolia made the die. I'm not certain if it's still available or not, but it was extremely expensive in Australia. I think I paid close to $30 for that one die. However, sometimes expensive things aren't really that expensive because you use them so much that they become inexpensive compared to the things you didn't pay as much for, but they sat dormant in your supply of stash. And I have cut in excess of 1,000 of these leaves because that's how much I use it and that's how much I love it. And I love the way that I can just fold those leaves up slightly to give that little bit of dimension along the fold lines. And straight away, I've sort of added height into that corner. So, you know, it really does look quite pretty. Australian prices are approximately 30% more expensive than what you would pay here in the US, just because of the Australian dollar and also freight to get it over there. So feel sorry for us because we can pay quite a bit for our bits and pieces. All right, I'm going to pull this little one out of the pack. And I want it sort of tucked in and under. Now, I keep a skewer, like just a normal kebab skewer in my kit at home for scrapbooking, but I'm just going to use the end of a paintbrush for this. But you can create gorgeous little tendrils. And I'm going to confess, I was shown this by the girls attending my classes. And I felt so stupid that I hadn't actually thought of doing something like this before. So now, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that cute, oh my grotty fingers now. Can you see that cute little tendril? And it's beautiful because and I can pull it out. I can uncorkscrew it that little bit. But that little tendril adds that little bit of green and offers, you know, just a little bit more texture into what I'm doing. And it was the simplest thing you could imagine, and I only found out about it a bit over 12 months, maybe 18 months ago now. And I just felt like, wow, why didn't I think of that? It was one of those moments where you just go, my goodness, it's so simple. I should have thought about that ages ago. What was that? What did I buy extra suitcase to bring stuff home of? I made hubby buy extra suitcase. So yes, that may have happened. I've already sent back a whole box of Prima goodies though, I must say. I've shipped it back home already, so it will be there when I arrive. Okay. So I've really just whipped together a little cluster. You know what? I want to add some deeper pink into that. I just feel like it needs something just with a bit more darker pink. See, there I go with the little tendril again. And when I pull it up, I then squish it to make it tighter. And I'll pull the, put the wire back so it's flat, so it's not adding extra bulk at the back of the flower. And then just glue it into place. I'm thinking there looks cute. Couple of little tendrils sticking out. See, look at them. Cute tendrils. The things that make me happy.
That was driving crazy.
All right. The next little bit, this is one of my favorite things. It's really easy. It's Winsor Newton Iridescent Medium for watercolor paint. You probably can't read that. See, Winsor Newton Can you read it yet? Is it got... My hands aren't steady enough for it to focus properly. All right. I'm just going to give it a shake up. Actually, I'm going to stick this on before I do the next bit. I had a squirrel moment. I got distracted. I'm actually going to stick this on before I do this because I've got to roll it over to put the foam dots underneath to stick it down. So we'll do that in just a moment. Then I'll show you what I do with that iridescent medium. Are you having fun just watching me standing over my shoulder? Frank's literally sort of just back here behind me over my shoulder.
I'm just
he's just, I'm certain he's secretly just laughing at me.
No, I'm not.
Because I'm all nervous and, you know.
I'm just looking at you.
Shaking.
I'm just wondering why you didn't take the greens off those flowers.
Why I didn't. He doesn't know why I didn't take the greens off. He can think that all he likes. I love the green tendrils.
And then Carrie's going to call me what did she call me the other day? A murderer of leaves or something. I was like, what?
Sometimes, because I've got a raised up area here, I may actually need to go back in and add some more dots just under here for extra support. Sometimes you do have to, you know, add that second dot in on places if you've got layers already built up. So I tend to pop it down, have a look where the ones I've got are going to go, and then just see if it's going to need that little extra support. So I ended up adding a couple more, so it's all sort of sitting at the same level. That one on that side probably needs another one too. Fixed. All right, now we'll do it. This is stunning. Where's it nice? This is really soft. This is a very soft brush, by the way. Can you see that? The coating on that is beautiful. It's just pearly and shimmery and beautiful. And all I'm going to do is I'm coming over the tops of those petals and I'm just adding some of that gorgeous pearly shine over the tops of those petals. It works really, really well over little roses and stuff. And sometimes I get a little bit too heavy-handed with my sparkle because it's just pretty. And I like pretty things. Can you see that? Can you see if I get in the light? Does it show up or not? Not really, does it? You can't really see the sparkle too well. If I add like mountains, will it show more? Hang on. If I add more, can you see the sparkle? Can you see that? How it's got that little bit of sparkle on it now? It looks better in real life. Let's go even closer. Can you see the sparkle? Whoop, let's go this way. And the sparkle on all my leaves up here. Sparkly. When you see it up close, it's actually really gorgeous. They're talking about leafy carnage. Kari's saying something about leafy carnage, and I think it's in reference to you, Frank. What did you do? Yeah. Leafy carnage. That sounds like something out of a horror movie. Maybe, maybe not.
I won't comment on that.
So that's really, really pretty. And if you get yourself a bottle of this stuff, a little goes a long way. Like a bottle like that will last you years, even if you use it lots and lots, because you're only putting just a little smidgen on them all. And then I'm going to grab my chipboard. I haven't finished off the other little cluster. Hang on. Let's find the other one I made earlier. And I'm going to add some bits to this as well. So I need that pretty butterfly. Frank was stealing my iridescent medium then. He stole it. He's naughty. All right. Here's a black. I wonder if this is going to work. Oh, this one. Can you hear me talking to myself again? I do it regularly. I decided to go for the clear dot behind on this one. Probably should have peeled off the other paper first, shouldn't I? Right, let's just get rid of that one. Let's grab a new one. Not my smartest moment.
See, that's why I don't use those.
I don't use them either. But I don't want to see a black one in behind. Do you know this barcode that I cut off earlier? I'm going to use that. And I seriously, I tell you, I love using offcuts. I'm just going to trim it. I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, you know, the whole fold it, cut from the fold out to the tip to get myself a little flaggy. I'll cut that back to about there. Give it the quickest little touch with the distress tool. Sometimes when you've got really tiny little corners, that's where the little blade inside comes into play. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. Maybe I can wipe it off the edges here. Glue dot. Great big glue ball stuck to me. That's beautiful. Charming. Let's stick that down. Frank's not going to be happy again because I'm about to make another tendril, which he'd just like hack off in 5 seconds flat. He doesn't like green, I don't think. I think he might be philosophically opposed to green. I love green. See, tendril that he would hack off.
I'll save them all for you and mail them to Australia.
I don't know what I do with that many of them. He's going to mail them all, save them and mail them to me in Australia. Do you know what? I'll probably sit there and tuck them into all sorts of projects. I'm a little bit funny like that. Let's go there. Do you remember these ones I threw out? I said the little white ones. I think they're Abbey. Are they Abbey ones?
Abbey.
They're Abbeys. I love these. You get this whole pack of something like 48 flowers. And I know they're only simple, but I love having my simple flatter style flowers because you can get coloured ones, but these are the white ones. But the white ones are great because then you can make whatever colour you want out of them and spritz them and do what you need to have fun with them. So I find them some of the most versatile little ones you could imagine. Now I'm ready for that butterfly to stick onto there. And then I'm going to take my heart and pop it over onto here. So I've sort of done two sort of clusters of things. Now, it's very hard without having my photo because my photo is going to sit out a little bit wider than what this is. So I'm trying to keep that in mind, and then I'm going to pop a couple of these on. 1, 2. If I keep them to the center, I'll still be able to slip my photo in underneath. Somewhere there. And I just want to finish it off now with some chipboard and also the pearls. They're always the last things I put on, the little bits of chipboard and pearls. I'm pulling back the little black flag. And yes, again, this is what I did. I grabbed it and I gave it the tiniest bit of distressing to keep it in keeping with everything else. And I'm actually using the fine blade that time because I don't want it too shabbied up. I just want a little bit of shabby. Now, I want to be able to get a photo on there. So I'm going to just pop the foam under here because this section's foam mounted, so I do need to keep the foam, mounted as well. And it's going to be a couple of layers, so I'm going to put 2 layers of the foam on there. And I'll pop that in about like so. It's so hard to tell without a photo. But I wasn't that organised and I didn't bring a photo with me. And then I'm going to get Sweetie Pie and do exactly the same. Tiny little bit of distressing on it. And then I'm going to just stick that into the centre. Then all we need to finish this, and I'll turn it around this way so you can see it. All we need to finish it is the swirls. That's not the swirls. Where have they gone? Do I have my swirls here? I'm hopeless. I should have things readily available. They were here. I showed you the swirls earlier. They can't have gone too far. Let's have a look through my little pile again. Oh, Frank found them for me. Thank you, Frank. All right. And this is just the finishing touch. And then the layout will be complete. So you can see, I did actually have another little circle in pink down here, I see. Another circle just to add, just to finish it so it's a little bit more, I'm going to add that because it just does give that little bit finish. I'm just going to hand cut this. This could be very, very scary. Wonder how bad I am at hand cutting a circle. It's looking dodgy. Oh, look, that's probably the funniest looking circle you'll ever see. It's not really a circle. It's like an egg. If I distress it, I wonder if I can distress it back to more like a circle. All right, now I'm going to have to really give it some heavy distressing just there because that's its egg section. Lighter. Oh, you know, maybe slightly close, but it just needs a little something down here just to give it some flow. All right, and I'm going to pop the larger one in. Prima pearls and swirls and stuff are really, really good because unlike a lot of them, see, even when it's just on my finger like that, it's still fairly rigid. So it doesn't go all sort of bleh and flop on your page. So you can pick it up, hold it in one spot, and then stick it down, like work it around so you can stick it down where you want it without it being totally terrible to work with. These are actually really good, and they always have been far superior quality than any other pearls that I've used ever before. And again, can you see I'm just sort of creating that little bit of flow through there with it. A little bit more. It's another texture. Go up that way. And one more for good measure. Where do I want that one from? About there. That'll do. Alright, so that's the layout done. I know minus a photo, so I apologise for that. But you can all see the page. So thanks for joining me. I hope you had lots of fun. If you had any questions, I can read now because I'm not trying to do two things at once. Oh, I did them first.
Oh, okay.
Frank was asking me if I had announcements, but I did them first. But maybe I'll do them another quick one again. Just again, to reminder, gorgeous Steph Miller is doing the Live with Prima class on School Memories Collection on Thursday, 29th, 6:30 p.m. And a reminder again about Venture California, January 8-9. And there's 6 amazing teachers. And I have to say, after having been to Art Venture, and you'll get to pay Frank out in person, okay? So Frank, who's just there off camera, you get to pay him out in person because he's teaching there with some amazing classes. And you might even get leaf carnage. I don't know. He's killing himself laughing now with the leaf carnage. I'll blame Carrie for letting me know about leaf carnage. I think that's quite funny. And Jamie's teaching there as well, and Anna's going to be over, and same with and I'm having
Miller.
Did I say Steph? The beautiful Steph. She's going to be there. She's like gorgeous, gorgeous lady. Really lovely. Because I can say that now because I've actually met her. And Nat is coming, and she's fabulous. She's a really cool lady, and Lamore's going to be there as well. So heaps of different talents and styles and stuff that you can really learn heaps from, and you just have a really, really good time. And I can thoroughly recommend it. So if you haven't booked, definitely do that. And I know I mentioned earlier as well, but the breast cancer awareness crop, 21st of September, 12 to 9 p.m. at the Prima Warehouse. And you can contact Frank on his email, frank@primamarketinginc.com, or call 909-627-5532. And I'm never going to be there. I'm never going to be an announcement person. So, and again, that was what we've just completed. Yeah, straighten it up. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have fun. No, it's been great. Look, I get to be here in the Prima classroom. It's really cool here. So thank you very much.